Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. You know, right now there is an immense amount of changes happening in crypto because now the banks, Wall Street, the governments, everyone is investing in Bitcoin and looking at this technology because now we're getting regulation. And I just did about a 10-hour deep dive, and I used Grok to read multiple reports. And I want to bring something to your attention because, guys, if you're getting misinformation, how do you expect to make good decisions and make money in this opportunity of a lifetime? Now, I can't be more bullish, but quite frankly, when you go straight to the source, like we're going to talk about a lot of the information I just got directly from ChainLink, once you understand what the facts are, you see that, guys, it's like watching CNN thinking you know what's going on in the world. There's more misinformation than good information in crypto. I say that with love. I highly recommend find some people that are not lying to you, that will give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and at least you have a fighting chance. Now, in this video, I'm going to tell you about some of the changes and what the future looks like in the financial world. A lot of people say, oh, there's going to be a banking reset, and they think that like crypto tokens and projects like XRP, XLM, and HBAR are going to take over the financial world. That doesn't even have 1% of the truth. And I'll share how I know that with you if you stay with me in this video. And we're going to go through the big picture, and I really want you to understand. And people don't like these type of videos because they just want to be told what to buy and why, whether it's the truth or not, and they'll just assume that's the truth. But guys, if you zoom out and you understand where everything's heading and what the competition looks like, you'll have a lot better chance to be successful. And the odds are, when you get a project that starts ripping, you'll understand, man, I better take profits because this is not a long-term journey for this project. And that's why I keep doing these type videos. But I find this fascinating. So if you have any interest or think someone has told you about how the ISO projects are going to work, how the banking, how RWA, you're probably wrong. And I say that with love. You need to watch this video and it will all make sense. And then we'll take a look at the link and ONDO charts. All right, guys, I go directly to ChainLink all the time. I don't think anyone would argue the fact that when it comes to the banking and the future of banking, tying in payments and RWAs and everything together, smart contracts, ChainLink has the adoption. It definitely has the lion's share. No ifs and buts about it. So if you think about it, they see who's doing what. So listen to them because they constantly are putting out information and videos. The founder speaks all the time, all over the world, and it's actually fascinating. Now, that being said, even if ChainLink becomes a household name, that doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to be a good investment. Now, I think it's a decent investment in this bull run, but I don't think there's any life-changing gains. And I don't want to jump ahead. I just want to give you this alpha. And I think most of you, if you like to learn, will find this really interesting. But if you want some future information and you want to do some non-biased research, go straight to the source, go straight to ChainLink. Now, this is some of the type stuff that they put out. Connecting bank payment rails to tokenized assets. JP Morgan, ChainLink, ONDO. That's pretty important information, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But it also goes through and talks about what's going on with Washington, what's going on with stable coins, everything. It's an endless amount of information. I read this article using Grok, the short shortcut all the time. But it talks about, guys, they are in the final stages of blockchain adoption with like the financial world, the financial rails. Everyone is starting to use this tech because really, guys, it was regulation. It wasn't that Wall Street didn't know it was here and all of that. It's just they're not going to put time, money, and effort into something that may never be legal to use. But now it's getting there, especially with the stablecoin, Genius package. Guys, it's game on. And if you don't understand what's happening, you're probably going to buy some tokens that are not going to perform like you thought. Now, here's the news. ChainLink, JP Morgan, and ONDO completed the cross-chain DVP. Now, think about it, guys. I know what we've heard. You know, all the money's going to run on certain rails and smart contracts, NFTs, and a lot of people have a certain way they think things are going to happen. Well, I've been saying for years that atomic settlement is the future, that the rails are going to be irrelevant. Rails are kind of like multiple roads that go into New York City. That's it. It just gets you to the destination. And you may make a little money, make it a toll road, but it's nothing special about that road into New York City. Well, now atomic settlement has gone to the next level. And what atomic settlement is basically is, doesn't matter what rail, and you don't even need a rail as far as a blockchain, but you tokenize an asset. See, payments and tokenization, everything's going to be tokenized. It all runs together. But you tokenize an asset into a smart contract or NFT, doesn't matter. And it has if then do this, right? So if I'm going to buy someone's house, let's say I'm going to buy $1 million house, and I tokenize my $1 million. Well, then the guy tokenizes the deed and everything that I demand for me to give him my money. Well, once that's both tokenized, doesn't matter what the rails are, and those are going to constantly change or be a choice, but they're probably going to be like with the JP Morgans of the world, and they're going to be insured. But once we both get them ready to send, we hit send, they go to a ledger. There's going to be 1,000 ledgers. The banks have their own ledger. And that ledger reads both sides and says, okay, he did this, he did that, boom, it's done. Well, now they've taken it to the next level, which is DVP. So let me tell you what that is. Because, guys, this really isn't debatable. This is what the future of tokenized payments and everything is going to look like. Okay, it's called delivery versus payment. It's a settlement process where the transfer of an asset, like a security token, happens only if corresponding payment is made simultaneously, just like in atomic settlement. But it ensures both parties, both the buyer and the seller. Now, the difference between that and just atomic settlement is they just did with JP Morgan and ONDO and LINK the first DVP, which is basically cross-chain. So, example, JP Morgan takes one of their customers or one of their funds and they tokenize it and they want to trade it. Well, with atomic settlement, it's been on the same rails with one ledger. Well, now they just did one that went from private, which is how most of it's going to start, to public. And it can be cross, it can swap for multiple different assets continuously. So that's what the future is if that matters, right? Like before, you had the tokenized deed, tokenized money, one ledger, boom, it's done. Well, now I can do that transaction and then I say, you know what? I want to trade that house. I just bought a house. I want to trade that deed for the Swiss franc. Boom, I can do that instantly. I want to use these rails. I can do that instantly. Or, okay, now that I have this deed to this house, I want to trade it for a car. Boom. I can do the transaction. I can do it overseas. I can do it on Avalanche. I can do it on XRP. I do it on Ethereum. I can do it on private rails. It doesn't matter. And it's the future is probably going to be to look like this. You're going to have your bank, because most people do not want to do this themselves. We'd rather pay a little bit of money, and the fees will be substantially lower to have everything guaranteed. Even if we do it ourselves, we'll do it on their rails. But so think about it. If a customer at JP Morgan says, you know what, I want to send $1 million and I want to buy an NFT overseas, whatever, it doesn't matter, a tokenized asset. So here's what I want. So JP Morgan says, okay, we'll do that for you. We'll start it on our rails. We're going to use our ledger, but they're going to send it on, say, Avalanche rails. Okay? So JP Morgan will ensure that transaction because it started on their rails. And that's where ChainLink and ONDO and JP Morgan come together. Now, check this out, guys. I know you hear a lot of times, let me see if I can find it. You hear a lot of times that, like for instance, well, you got to have XRP is going to rule the world because of the liquidity and the liquidity pools and the bridging. Well, if you study what they're doing, they're getting rid of as much of that as possible. Every time you bridge something, your risk at a hack. They want to take that away. Bridging is going to be very few and far between, probably for most important things in the future. But look at this. No liquidity pools required. They're already getting rid of liquidity pools. Because if you think about it, guys, adding a third party to take my money and have to convert it into any token, whether it's XRP or stablecoin or anything, and then the other person has to do the same, it's redundant. So you want to have the least amount of steps as possible. Now, hopefully that makes sense. But, so what the future is going to look like, to make it long story short, guys, I've said this 1,000 times, but it's true. Most influencers are just running around trying to find something positive to say about whatever token it is that carries their tribe, and, something to tell their community that they'll keep coming back. And it sounds like amazing. Well, XRP plans to do this. XLM was created for this, or whatever. Guys, that's really irrelevant. That's like me saying, well, I created this channel to be the next Mr. Beast. Doesn't mean I'm going to get there. And especially against Mr. Beast. But if you think about it, if you do non-biased research and you zoom out and say, what is the financial world going to look like? JP Morgan, Swift, DTCC, Fidelity, FIS Global, all those company names will come up. And they'll be talking about all their rails, all their instant settlement, their future to use this tech. See, Wall Street is going to use the tech, not necessarily invest and speculate with it. The speculation across the board for 99% of these projects are going to disappear. That's some alpha for you hodlers. And even the projects that make it, like the utility tokens, the speculation is probably going to die off because there's no money to be made, especially when they get to be more like mutual funds. Like the ETFs will get to a certain point where you're like, well, I can make 20, 30% a year, which is still phenomenal compared to a mutual fund. But what the future looks like, guys, is the same financial powerhouses of the world that run the world are going to keep doing the same thing, right? I'll give you an example. You got New York City, Miami, Atlanta, Austin, Texas, California. Well, that's kind of the main hubs of America. Throw in Chicago, whatever you want. And then there's 1,000 roads. But if you think about it, the main traffic is going to be on the interstates. Well, that's the rails of the banks. The processing, the money, the bulk, the dominance is going to happen in the city. Now, there may be 1,000 side roads like with ISO tokens. ISOs, guys, is just like getting a real estate license. It doesn't even mean you're going to sell a house. It's irrelevant. But if you're going to try to sell a house, you have to have the license. That's all that means. JP Morgan has the biggest, you got to follow this, guys. If you want to know who's ruling the world in crypto, go to the source. Who's ruling the world in payments right this minute? Swift, JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard, all those guys. Go see what they're doing. Don't go to the competitor that's trying to overthrow them. Doesn't make sense. But look at this. The race to rewire cross-border payments, JP Morgan. Look at this. Swift instant settlement with JP Morgan. If you read this, guys, JP Morgan's been working directly with Swift as they're already ISO certified. Been there for 2.5 years, working directly with Swift. It's called Swift GPI. XRP is not involved. HBAR is not involved. Algorand's not even. None of them are doing anything with Swift. JP Morgan's moving billions a day testing out the system. And when they go live, guys, they're live. And once we hear that the system's up and at them and it's coming out of beta, you're going to see that the JP Morgan does 50% of Swift's messaging right now, which is basically all the other competition combined equals what JP Morgan's doing. And if you don't believe that, guys, go talk to AI about it. Ask them facts. And if don't ask them like, oh, do banks use XRP? They're going to say yes. Say, name me a bank that buys XRP. It's going to say there are none, right? Tell me what relationship, just like this is AI, actually. This is Google's AI. I said, explain to me where JP Morgan is with Swift. And he did. And they're using it, testing it. Then I said, well, is there any integration right now with XRP? No. And what it said was, hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. It said XRP has integration. Does XRP have? XRP has no integration with Swift currently, correct? That's what I typed in. And it said speculation versus reality. There have been rumors and speculation with the crypto community about potential integration, but neither Ripple nor Swift has confirmed official collaboration. And it talks about how basically Ripple is trying to compete. So there's no integration there, guys. And no matter what, you can't tell me that just because you have a good cup of coffee, you're going to take over Starbucks. No one is going to take over banking, and banking is just getting more strong. But you got to look, guys, cryptos are not stocks. They're not going to retain their value. They're more like commodities. If you don't use that commodity, gasoline has a value to me and you to a certain extent. Gas gets to $5, $6, $7, $10 a gallon, we'll be buying an electric car. But if I take that gasoline and I put it in a huge mountain mover and I build a subdivision on the side of the hill, it has more value. So no matter how high gas goes, I'll still be putting it in my equipment, if that makes sense. All right. I know I'm rambling, but look at this, guys. What I'm here to tell you, and everyone needs to understand, is that all the companies, all the banks are starting to use this tech. Look at this. 5 real-world tokenized success stories across the U.S. Citigroup, tokenizing assets. Goldman Sachs, tokenizing bonds. Launched on their own rails with their own technology. Franklin Templeton. They all have their same process, their same roadmaps, what they're trying to do. IBM has a patent on tokenization of what they're trying to do with non-fungible tokens. And it says right here, and this is 2021, guys. IBM and IP Transaction Platform, IPWE, announced a platform to represent corporate patents as non-fungible tokens using IBM's enterprise blockchain network. So who do you think is going to win in the long run, guys? A company like IBM, which has been around for 100 plus years, or Quant? It's just software and code, guys. That's it. There's nothing special about a ledger. And even if people say, oh no, the XRP ledger is the best ever, okay, I can clone it. I can just create a side chain. And I don't have to use XRP. And even if I wanted to, I could call up Ripple and say, hey, create me a side chain. I want to use your supply. People, you got to understand this stuff, because you're getting misinformed. If you don't believe me, guys, go look at what Visa is doing with cross-border payments. Go look at companies like Damien. Go to their website. Look at their partners, Circle, Citi, JP Morgan, Microsoft. They've got $110 billion of assets already secured with their institutional clients. They have 400 institutional clients. What they do is staking, DeFi, set up nodes, all kinds of support for Wall Street. So, guys, the future is to use this tech. Wall Street just wants to make money just like they do now using the tech. The speculation is because it's a new asset class, but it's going to disappear, the bulk of it. And again, guys, when you have an immense amount of supply, right, like with utility tokens, it's going to be 100 years probably if the demand ever catches the supply, which realistically, as fast as this technology is coming on, a lot of projects are obsolete already, right? Most tokens aren't needed. Coinbase proved that. That was one of many examples I could give you. Look at OP. Phenomenal layer 2. Coinbase said, hey, we love that. They cloned the stack. It's the exact code, guys. They cloned the stack. They took away the token. And now they do more transactions and make more money with that technology than OP does. Well, they're onboarding new people every day using their stack. OP doesn't really have a future. And even if it makes it, why does it have a future to make money as an investment? I don't mean to harp on all that, guys, but you really have to understand this stuff. Or you're going to make bad decisions. And here's my biggest point. Once you know a couple of facts, you realize who doesn't know what they're talking about, and you can move on and quit listening to those people that are going to get you wrecked. All right. Here's the thing with ChainLink. Chart looks decent, right? And I think ChainLink will do well because it is the dominant person in this space, or dominant protocol, right? But look at this, guys. This gets into tokenomics. I don't care what anyone tells you. They're lying to you when it says tokenomics don't matter. Tokenomics might not keep a project from pumping in the good times and altcoin season, but it's going to kill that project every down day and every bear market because it keeps getting diluted. That's why people got it. Why do you think Bitcoin is the GOAT? And this is misinformation people just don't understand. Why do you think Bitcoin's the GOAT? The XRP community will tell you that XRP's faster, it's this, it's that. So what? Bitcoin is a store of value. I can't get dumped on. If it goes down, there's other reasons, but it won't be because I got dumped on. And if you get dumped on with a limited supply, buy it up. But when you have almost an unlimited supply, which is 100 billion tokens, and I can continually dump on you, things better be going up. You better be in a positive environment. Well, we know it's cyclical. The majority of the time, crypto goes down way more and stays down way longer, right? So here's the point about ChainLink. ChainLink has done okay. It went up to almost $30, right at $30. But look at the market cap, guys. The market cap got within 2 billion of its all-time high. That means it's been getting adoption. Look at that chart. See, that should be your price. That should mean if it had good tokenomics that in this bull run, ChainLink would have already hit, say, $28. But it's only hit, well, actually, hold on a second. I said that wrong. ChainLink should have hit, God darn it. Hold on. ChainLink should have already hit almost $50, somewhere around $45 to $48 if it matched the tokenomics. But instead, the price hasn't hit $30. Big discrepancy. But that being said, I have no doubt that it's going to make a new all-time high for this bull run, but it's probably not going to make an all-time high historical wise. Two things you should know. And guys, I'm going to probably swing trade ChainLink because of the hype for ISO and for real world assets. But here's the thing. 90% of all tokens don't hit a new all-time high in their second bull run. That would be ChainLink in my educated guess. It's probably not going to hit a new all-time high. And the odds are it's not. So why am I going to stick around and hold it to do so? I don't like the odds. Now, also, the reason for that is because of the tokenomics. But then, for it to rip, it needs to get to 50, 60, 80 billion dollars. And a lot of people tell you that's nothing. But here's a fact. There's never been a non-layer one, except for one meme coin, Shiba, ever go over 40 billion market cap. So the point is, for ChainLink, if it gets to, for it to get to 40 billion, which I don't think it's going to, it would have to double its market cap, and that could give you, price-wise, say, what is that, 5, 6, 7x, but the odds are that's not going to happen. So, something to think about. Now, ONDO. ONDO is a great project. It's a new project. Again, guys, I've told people this 1,000 times. If you want the probabilities to be in your favor, new projects, hot sector, never experienced a bull run. ONDO's proved that's what you want. But it's also proved you need to take some profits. Now, I don't doubt for an instant that ONDO's going to make a new all-time high, historical and in this bull run, which is one and the same. So the closer to 50 cents ONDO gets, I'm going to start stacking. Now, this is something to understand, guys. Even though I'm going to stack and take profits, hopefully, on ONDO, ONDO has no future value. And I made a video on this, and I'll pin it if you want to learn about it. But guys, the way they are setting this up, and I think this is just like OP and Coinbase, ONDO token is not needed to use the ONDO blockchain. You can pay with stable coins. You can swap other coins. You never have to buy or own ONDO. It's just like with XRP. You can call up Ripple and pay them to use their supply. So once you understand it, it's not bullish at all. And if the crypto communities all did deep dives and understood this tech, I wouldn't consider buying ONDO. But in the future, people are going to be more educated, and they're going to say, ONDO token has no value. Why buy it? But see, I'm buying it based on the fact that people don't know FOMO and that it is the GOAT in the RWA space. So I'm willing to roll the dice, stack it as close to 50 cents as I can get. If it goes below that, definitely load the boat. And I'm going to start dollar cost averaging out when it gets close to its all-time high, and probably be all the way out when it gets there, unless we're in altcoin season and everything is just absolutely ripping, and we'll play it by ear. But either way, if I buy it at 50 cents, you can bet when it just gets over $1, I'll take out my initial investment. I'm immediately in the 10% club. Now, this went on a lot longer than I wanted it to, but guys, if you need some help with your portfolio, understanding tokenomics, understanding how to get a strategy, how to dollar cost average in and out, getting a game plan, I got you. Reach out. I have a coaching course, comes with a Zoom call. We go through your portfolio and all that. I have 3 Zoom call package if you want that. I have a shorting course that comes with a Zoom call as well, which everyone should be able to short, in my opinion. Learn to short. That is where the consistent money is, and I have an inner circle. So whether you take me up on any of this or not, guys, do yourself a favor. Do some non-biased research. Go straight to the source like ChainLink as much as you can, and take profits, or you'll become the prophet. All right, guys, take care.